and a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night.
Welcome to the Rasmussen Farms kitchen. This is, I guess, installment number 2. The reason why I was wanting to do another cooking video is we sold some meat to, let's just call it a family member. They had eaten a bunch of steaks. They're giving me good reports, and I love to hear good reports. You know, the meat is awesome, tastes great, looks great, all that stuff. But they sent me a picture, and they were really worried that it looked funny. And I was worried myself, so I zoomed in on it, and I'm like, that's a cube steak. Of course it looks funny. But if they haven't seen it before, I totally get why they would think, man, something's wrong with this piece of meat. But anyway, a cube steak is part of the background. It's, you know, maybe part of the top sirloin that you wouldn't actually get to use as a steak, but they put it through a tenderizer. In the process, it makes, I guess, what you'd call a cube. It doesn't look like a cube to me, but anyway, they call it cube steak. So there's a lot of different things you can do with cube steak. I love it in an Instapot with some gravy, and to put that over mashed potatoes, that's really good. But obviously the staple thing for using cube steak is chicken fried steak. So today for our meal, we took out some cube steak of our Rasmussen Farms beef, and Grandpa Rasmussen is king of the chicken fried steak. So we asked him if he'd be in this video, and he's gonna show us how to whip up some mean chicken fried steak.
Hi everybody, I'm Grant Rasmussen. I am a third generation farmer, rancher, and now I can add to it doctor. There's no other doctors in my family. And it is a privilege to have Jackie and Ryan working with us here on our little farm program. And I grew up on a little farm. We grew everything. About the only thing we would buy is flour. And so I'm kind of tickled to be able to pass some of that heritage along to you all here today. But all of the years except my years of training during medical school and residency, I and my wife would raise beef, and we would give it to our kids for a Christmas present. And so we've eaten very little store-bought beef, but I've really come to know the benefit of raising our own meat. Many benefits, and we believe we're healthier as a result of being independent and growing our own foods. So today we're gonna do some chicken fried steak. This is our cube steak. Just wanted to show you recently, my staff prepared this, meaning my nurses, and gave this to me. Very meaningful. Rasmussen Farms has been in our family since the late 1800s, and I'm proud to be able to continue with Rasmussen Farms, and hopefully we're working on the 4th generation now, and that's with Ryan and Jackie.
All right, so here's what the cube steak looks like. We took it out of the freezer yesterday so it can thaw slowly. And again, that's one of the biggest tips I can give you. You do not take steaks or any kind of meat out and plan on eating it within an hour or two, or don't defrost it all in the microwave if you want it to taste good.
Beautiful piece.
Oh yeah, see, isn't that kind of weird?
See how tender. They actually serrate it, and it's totally tender. This is usually a much tougher piece of meat. Sometimes they'll make it out of the rump. This is one of my favorites, and we're gonna show you the recipe of my mother.
Wouldn't you say it's kind of, when you taste it, I mean, you could actually eat that like a steak.
Yes, you could cook this just like a steak. You could grill it. It's going to be tender. It's going to be better than a steak hamburger.
Got some freshly peeled taters here. What are we gonna do with the potatoes?
What we're going to do is we're going to slice them up, get them in cubes about like yay. We're going to boil them, get them nice and soft, and I'm going to show you how we make our country whipped potatoes.
Oh, and this is
and with a country fried steak gravy.
Grant has passed on his ability to make the best mashed potatoes onto Jackie, and for our Crumb family Thanksgiving, she has always requested to do the potatoes because she learned it from this guy right here. Here's another thing that we try to do with the corn on the cob. I wouldn't say it's a secret tip, most people know about it, but if you want your corn to be nice and sweet, is you add some sugar to your boiling water that you put your corn in. All right, now we've got potatoes in. Just have the water about, I'd say, 1.5 to 2 inches above the amount of potatoes that you have. Wait for them to boil. You check with a fork for tenderness before they are ready to be whipped up.
All right, we're just getting our meat ready to go here. And one of the first things I'm going to do is make these into a little bit more manageable piece. We're going to make them about this size. But I wanted to show you the ingredients that I use in my chicken fried steak. These are homegrown eggs, I might add. And there is a monstrous difference in taste between a homegrown and your bought eggs. So we're gonna take one of these containers and we're gonna put eggs in. Then I like to put my spices in the eggs. I usually make my own hand rub, but I have found one over the years that I like even maybe a little bit better, and it's an excellent one. I'm able to find it on Amazon.com. North of here, there's a restaurant that serves the best steaks and prime rib roasts, and this is actually what they use in the restaurant.
So if people that don't have that, what would be a similar substitute? Just their own dry rub that they like? Or
yeah, and basically it could be any ingredient like black pepper. It would be salt, garlic, of course. Thyme was a good one. Rosemary we would use in it as well. And then I would taste it and get it just about right. But
gotcha.
Today we're gonna do the porterhouse. I still like thyme. I'm gonna add just a little bit more and a little black pepper. So that'll be the eggs with the spices. And then here is going to be breadcrumbs. Now, when I grew up, my mother would set out a loaf of bread, slice it up, and make her own breadcrumbs.
Yes,
fabulous.
That can be done. Panko, anything like that. Today,
Panko is a favorite of mine. If you like halibut, oh, panko is fabulous.
This for toast to a little bit of chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio world, but like to see sunrise.
All right, we're back again just for a minute. I've got everything prepared here, and just going to kind of show you. But you know, being a physician, I'm very involved with people's health, low cholesterol, heart disease, congestive heart failure. Deal with that stuff every day. But I can tell you that a lean cut of beef will do you just as much good as lean as chicken, turkey, those kinds of things. And it's a little better in iron content to help keep your red blood cell numbers up. It's a good, healthy source of protein. But as you can see on these little cube steaks here, there's no meat or no fat at all. Very, very healthy. So what I like to do is to take these little steaks, if you will, and we're gonna bathe them in my homegrown eggs with spices, and then these are our breadcrumbs, and we want to get them coated very nicely with those. And then I like to let them sit for a little while. I'll put a piece of saran wrap over them and let them sit for maybe an hour. All right, I've finished breading our chicken fried steaks, and just going to cover them to hold that goodness in, and hopefully some of those spices will permeate right into the meat, and we'll get to those here in a few minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to step over here and check our potatoes to see if they're nice and soft. They're ready to go, I think, Ryan. One of my favorite things that I have to cook with. It's about a 20-pound cast iron pan. Had it for many years. If you notice, it's got some goodness cooked into the bottom of it. So we don't use harsh soaps. It's actually been cooked in for many years, and it really gives a really good flavor to our meat. And you'll be seeing this old boy here again in a few minutes. Okay, the potatoes are done. And I've always been a stickler with our whipped potatoes. They have to be able to stand alone. and not hide the flavor with gravy. So I'm usually the designated whipped potato maker, and our grandkids, I think, can attest that they're pretty darn good. Got a little KitchenAid here that I really enjoy. There
Now,
we
how do you
go.
want the potatoes to feel so that you know they're done boiling, Grant?
Pretty easy to tell. You don't want them overdone and you don't want them underdone. We'll just grab one of these little fellers out of here and show you. But basically, with a fork, you should be able to just go shazam. There you go.
Shazam.
Just
Boom.
like that.
Okay.
And they're not falling apart. They'll whip up wonderfully. So, and then what you do with them from here is very important. You got to have real butter, and you got to have some half and half. So we like our half cream and half milk, and then we're going to season to taste as we go here. So I'm going to add a little half and half goodness in there. Yep. And we also had our own cows growing up, and so we would hand milk into the bucket.
Milk in the bucket.
Yeah, that's the reason these guns are pretty good right here. Anyway, and we would milk it and then let it sit in the fridge overnight, and we have a layer of cream like that. And we churn our own butter, so we don't have to buy the stuff, and use our own milk, and it was absolutely fabulous. The other key ingredient is just some good salt. I'm gonna add a little salt in there.
So it's hard to do potatoes. You know, obviously you can't say, you know, this many cups of this and that. So you kind of just do it. Obviously you've done it before.
Go for taste.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm sure consistency too. Once you start mixing it,
Yeah.
you can actually see when you've got it right.
Up and slow, low Joe here, so we don't all get splashed. I'm gonna grab a little knife so I can get some butter in there. I love butter. So does my coronary arteries, I'm afraid. But you know what? The Lipitor helps.
There you go.
Those of you that know that, it's a plus.
Can we hashtag Lipitor and get some money out of this, you think?
Probably not. It's generic now.
Oh, dang it.
Anyway,
Thought I had a good idea.
take a little peek in there.
All right.
See what we got going? See that butter's mixing in there. Our
That already
consistency
looks good.
Isn't right, but we're going to get there. We're going to let that go for about a minute here. We're going to shut her down and scrape the sides so we get all of the potatoes whipped, and then we'll start flavoring to taste. So, all right, we let her go for a minute or so. We're going to do a little taste test, and I can tell you if we're there. No, we're not.
Not gonna have it.
We're not there.
More work to do.
So I don't put too much salt to start with, but you can never have too much garlic. So we're gonna add a little garlic salt in there. You guys that like garlic potatoes?
Oh, and the Lowry's is the best. It has that little green flake to it also. Gives it some nice color.
And it's still a little on the dry side. So we're gonna add a little more half and half here. Okay. We'll see you in a minute for the taste test. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. You can see we got a nice fluffy potato mix there. Let's see what we got here. Getting better. Needs a little bit more in there. A little more butter. And we need a little more garlic salt in it. And in our family, we like a little black pepper too. I always tell my grandkids it puts hair on their chest, but girls didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. And coarse black pepper is the way to go. I always say you can't have too much black pepper in anything.
There we go. All right, a couple minutes. All right, we just shut her down again, and we're gonna come have a look in there, Ryan.
Okay.
Show them that good looking
Oh,
stuff.
that is whippy.
Yep, it is. So we're gonna taste it again. Yes, you could put your pile of that on your plate, one of them steaks. You don't even need gravy. They're wonderful. Okay, the other thing we gotta have is some butter ponds, and I'll show you that. And there we go. And I'd like to add a little bit more butter.
This,
My cholesterol's a little low today.
I doubt it.
It's to
Oh,
hide gravy or hide our butter in there. So we got butter ponds. We're gonna put a little covering on them, and they're ready to go to work here in a moment.
I remember one of my first Thanksgivings with you, Grant. One of the grandkids was so excited after getting their dollop of mashed potatoes, and he acted like he won the lottery. He's like, "I got a butter pocket."
All right, we're just getting our big cast iron pan ready to go. You'll have a look here. We've got some olive oil in here and just the last of the butter. And here's our wonderful looking steaks that we're gonna get cooked up.
So,
Here in
Grant,
just a moment.
it'd be safe to say if they don't have any butter in their refrigerator, probably not to start this process.
Yeah, there you go. But you actually could use margarine.
All right.
If you're hard up, you can use margarine. But butter gives it a good crisp on the outside, a very good flavoring. You could even flavor the butter in here a little bit. Oh goodness, we're back. Better get busy. We just have a little taste. The chef always has to have a taste, and it's spot on. We're gonna get the rest going here. Our nice, super hot.
Mind this I've come to know. So if you agree, have a drink with me. Raise your glasses for a toast to a little bit of chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right.
All right, it's just been a couple of minutes. Gonna show you. Look at that baby. Oh yeah.
Mama's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child and know a mother's love.
Yep, these are all taken off now, and they look fantastic. We're about to, water's boiling for the corn. We'll toss those in. Get that pan nice and ready for the rest of them, and we're about there. So the one downside, I guess you could say, to cube steak is there's not a lot of fat on it, so you don't have the drippings that you would from a roast or whatever to make killer gravy. So we're gonna cheat. I'm gonna do an experiment. I have not done this before. But we're gonna keep what's left in the pan and do just some regular brown gravy mix and whip up a few packets of gravy and let it take on some of the flavor of the actual chicken fried steak. And we'll see how it turns out. I bet it's pretty good.
Is just finished up, and we've got our steak, our corn, our potatoes, whipped potatoes, and our gravy, and a hungry family. Take a quick scan out there.
Uh-oh.
Quick scan. There we go. Come on. Once you come on up here, we'll show them the food real quick, and then we're going to take a minute and thank the Lord for our food and all the many blessings we have, and we're going to have some really good food. Hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to enjoy the food.
Awesome. Grant, thanks for the help. Enjoy your Sundays, everybody.
And a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night.
And if you don't love fish, just try it for the hell of it.
And I'll just let you know Ryan is doing appropriate distancing here.
All right, so we've been shucking the corn, and we're raising beef here on the farm, but whoever was raising this corn, this one's pregnant. It's ready to have a little baby ear of corn. Grant, tell me if it's true, but don't they say real men cook on Sundays?
Yes, I didn't quite grow up that way, but that's the way it's been for about the last 30 years.
Yeah.
See the love in my woman's eyes. Feel the touch of a precious child. And know